we're kind of only given, or we kind of only realize what we could slide into in a balanced pursuit, a particular opportunity. Because within the different dimensions of yourself, within the different dimensions of how the reality has always worked and how it has always changed, and how it has always had its own stability and its own change, there has been, energetic rigidities via certain time frames of how the timeline is coming out of a certain level of density and going into a transition, significant transition, going into a lighter field of density. And within that transition, that's the magic sauce of the times that we're in right now, is how we are transitioning, obviously. So going back to yesterday's podcast and to connect it with today's podcast is seeing how time is working differently in different layers, and each of those layers have a different configuration of components. Because even though the point of this podcast is, even though we're on a surface level material reality basis, that's just like our soul has compressed and suppressed itself to be in that surface level material reality. So what am I really talking about? We are we're participating in this reality based on a subconscious purpose for freedom. So it's a subconscious purpose for freedom, but we all have our own deep spiritual subjectivities and perceptions of what freedom means to us. Freedom means following your own desires and not necessarily knowing the consequences, reaping the consequences, and then living through the consequences, not necessarily good or bad, and just reflecting and growing and like more or less energetically compensating for the consequences that we're in based on everything we have chosen to even make it this far in our reality of what we are. And not to jump all over the place, but this surface level reality, it seems significant, but we forgot that it's actually like less significant, because the real work is kind of like uncovering different densities to see how we can have an interaction and a reciprocation to how balancing the respective moralities within our truth. Because what that does is that will give you the a certain ratio of opening and closing of what's really for you and what's really not for you. Because whether we're participating and relating to our subconsciousness, which is the intuition and the instinct to better our best self in coordination and recollection with the higher intelligence, because the higher intelligence will know what is for you and what isn't for you. And if you're not participating with that and you're kind of fleeing from that for however you are, the original intelligence, then you're gonna get like submerged and plunged in just to different varieties of density that's not necessarily constructive, or shadow or darkness that's not necessarily constructive in an energetic sense. Not the energetic darkness, but the mental darkness where we don't know what is for us. So working on yesterday's podcast is just seeing like the different, elements of reality, the chemical construct, the emotional ego intellect construct, and then the higher mind with the spirit construct. And then, equalizing all those out to go down and up the ladder within wherever you're at right now, doing that particular thing. Because without that particular thing, then we're just going to get immersed more in our own illusions, because we don't necessarily recognize how the material surface level, it's called an illusion because it's lesser more than the real reality of how the background of reality of all the energetics is working in such a hidden way that the material reality is compressed within material objects, constructs, and subjects in that format. It's condensifying itself and solidifying itself, not for bad or for good, but just in a way where it's just we're forgetting how things are even like, you know, brought forth. So and one more point here. I only have 1 minute, less than a minute left, but just seeing how like oh yeah, so the subconscious is also fighting for fairness. The subconscious is going towards freedom and fairness, and with that is produced the good spiritual fight. It's a spiritual purpose, energetic purpose, where you know what, like, your subconscious is fighting for you, and you're downloading your subconscious, and now you know what to fight for. It's your spiritual deep liberty, and how your subconscious, your oversoul, is fighting for fairness on a different way, which creates the harmony of fighting itself, and how everything is preserved in the background for you on a standard level. And there's one more point. Bam.